Okay, guys, now that we understand the reason why we need a DM setter, it's time to understand the structure and the flow on what we do. Okay, so whether you're doing this yourself or you're going to be hiring somebody in the future, without structure, you'll end up with empty conversations and an empty calendar. Now, I can't give you a hour by hour breakdown of every single thing that you should do. But the way that I like to operate it is pretty much by time frames. Okay. So first thing in the morning, whether that's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, um, I usually start off with answering any of the warm lead engagements. Okay, so like new followers, likes, comments, replies on posts and on stories, things like that. Okay. Then what I'll go back and do is unsend and resend all of the conversations that were started the night before, but we didn't get anywhere. They answered one or two questions, but then we didn't get enough to either book a link, or schedule a call. So I'll go and re-engage with all of those people first. Then we'll go back and I do it in sections and I'll do a screen share so that way we can show you guys what the accounts look like. I do them in blocks. So what I mean by blocks is I'll go through everybody that's labeled as a lead. Okay, so I like to start my days no later than 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the East Coast time. That's a little bit early for some of the West Coast people and things like that. So I don't do any confirmation calls until about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as far as answering DMs and things like that, I do get started at 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, I use my common sense, and discernment to take a look at the messages. If somebody messaged me very early in the morning or really late at night, more than likely they were up late. They're probably not going to be up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning when I start, if I were to message them back right now. What that does is they'll see that message or that they'll get multiple more messages on top throughout the morning. By the time they see your message, it's all the way at the bottom and they never see it. A reason why a lot of these people stop engaging, the reason why a lot of these people stop engaging is because they just don't see your message. We are responding at the wrong times and our messages are getting buried. And if we're not doing consistent follow-up and unsend and resend and touching back with people, then your messages get lost or they have reached out to somebody else. So typically around 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll start off with the likes, the comments, the followers, stuff like that. I'll reply to all of those people. Any messages that came in within that early morning time frame, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll respond to those because those people are probably up. They're probably saw something before they're off to work or before they got their day started. Any ones that were the previous night, I'll leave those until a little bit later on in the morning, maybe like around 10 o'clock in the morning is when I'll go back and start touching all of those. Um, from 9 o'clock to about 10 o'clock for that first hour, it's really just going through all the likes, the comments, the followers. And I'll give you guys a template as far as what messages we use. It's pretty basic, but the more personal that you can become with this cold outreach, basically, or warm, is the better it can be, right? So I've tried just sending the typical, hey, thanks for the follow message. I've tried sending just the typical thanks for the follow message, and a lot of times it'd get no response. If you actually take a second to take a look at their profile or take a look at what ad they came from and why they followed you, and mention something about that in that first message we tend to get a lot more response. Okay. Um, as far as the followers go, it's a different message, and the way we handle those responses are a lot different than somebody that responded to an ad. For example, the message I like to use on the followers is, hey, thanks for the follow. Um, just curious, are you a business owner as well? If they say yes, a lot of times it's not too salesy, it's very open-ended, and it's intriguing enough to be like, oh yeah, I'm a business owner as well. That's why I followed you. Once they say that, then it's, oh, awesome. What type of business do you own? And are you also taking advantage of 0% business credit cards? And they'll tell you what type of business they have, and then they'll tell you, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. And that gives you the opportunity to start going into our structured script. Okay. That way we can get them qualified and get them booked. The same goes for likes and comments. We handle those pretty much the same way we would handle a follow. Instead of saying, hey, thanks for the follow, it's, hey, I saw that you liked one of my posts. I saw that you commented on one of my ads. Um, are you a business owner? You know, that's basically how I handle that. As far as the replies to the stories and things like that, that's usually a little bit more personal, depending on what exactly it is that you're posting, the type of content that you're posting. Um, always just respond back relevant to whatever it is that they said to you. After I do that, then I'll pretty much go back to all of the messages from the previous day. Okay, so after I've hit up all of the likes, the comments, the followers, the stories, then what I'll do is I'll go back to all of the messages from the previous day that didn't come to a decision or didn't book a call, and I will re-engage with those people. That re-engagement is either an unsend and resend of the previous message, or I'll send, a warm lead message, kind of like, hey, you didn't reach out to not answer, right? Something like that. I have a couple templates that I will share with you guys. There'll be a link on the bottom as well. Something like that to get them to re-engage with you. And like I said, a lot of times it's that we are messaging at the incorrect times, and our messages are just getting buried. And I've had plenty of people tell me, oh, I just never saw your message. And it's because they got 10, 20 other messages. It got further and further down the list. You responded one time and waited and was like, oh, well, if they were interested, they'd get back to me. It's not how it works. Um, there's plenty of studies and stuff out there that show that it takes multiple touches back to the person before they ever actually commit to getting on a book call. So keep in mind that we're not bothering these people. And every once in a while, you may get somebody that says, hey, leave me the F alone, and that's okay. Put them on the block list and just leave them alone, right? But at the end of the day, they reached out to you, especially if they're coming from an ad. They said that they needed help. We're just trying to help. Okay. Around 12 o'clock in the day, in the afternoon time, I'll normally take a break. I normally work from about 9 to 12 o'clock, about those 4 hours straight. And in between that time, that's not just the setting, but I'll also do some confirmation calls um, before any scheduled appointment is coming up. But we'll get into that in another video. So after lunch, when I come back, I normally do some cold outreach. Uh, Cold outreach is we'll go and it's targeted, normally like 10, 12 people at a time. I'll go and search in Instagram different types of businesses. So whether that be the tattoo industry or the real estate industry or, the car sales industry, whatever industry it is, marketing, and go and find 10 different profiles in that niche. And I would send a cold outreach message to them. And I'll have some templates for that as well, but this is where ChatGPT comes into play. Okay, whenever you have to create some kind of like outbound or copyright message, use ChatGPT. Okay. I'll do another video on how to use it and break it down simply so you get the results that you need. Um, so we'll do that at another time. But after the cold outreach, we usually take that time then to go back and label all of the messages that have came in. I like my accounts very neat and organized. If a message comes in and it is not labeled, I know that's a new message to be attended. If it came in from an ad, it should at least be marked with the label lead. Once we mark it with that lead, I now know that's somebody to engage with. And I'll show you guys an example of what it looks like on another account. Okay, so after we do the cold outreach and 10 to 12 messages, it doesn't take a long time. Normally what I do after that is I'll go and do follow up and I'll revive old conversations past the 48 hours. I'll go back to some of the people that we sent a link to that maybe didn't book a call and follow up with them. Or I will go back to some of the people that scheduled a call and I'll follow up with them. Hey, your call is coming up on this day. Watch this video before your call. Things like that. The more that we can keep in contact with these people, the more likely they are going to show up. Okay. So after we do the follow up and stuff, in between all of this time, we're still answering messages that come in. Okay. So if you're running ads, you're going to get messages that come in throughout the day, plus these people that you are unsending and resending and things like that. You have to consistently go back and check and make sure that you didn't just revive a message and now you took 30, 45 minutes to answer back to that person. Okay. I understand that we can't answer every single message the minute that it comes in, but within 10 minutes is a reasonable time frame. Now, especially if you're have a designated person doing this setting, within 10 minutes is standard. It should be within 5 to 10 minutes, no more than that. I understand you take breaks and things like that, and it's okay. We are humans, we're not robots. But at the end of the day, it is still speed to lead. As soon as these people see the ad, they're interested, they message the keyword, they're hot. If we don't respond to them right then and we take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, so on and so forth, more than likely they already saw somebody else's ad or they forgot what they saw, and we have to remind them of everything all over again. And that's the reason why some people don't message back. Another thing is a lot of people are just interested. They're saving the information. They're the lookers, I like to call them, the people that plan but never take any action. And when you get a lot of people like that, I don't count them off. If they're interested, I just label them as ordered and we'll get back to them at another date. And then that's pretty much it. At around 8 o'clock at night, I'll do one final sweep. As far as making sure I answered everybody's message, making sure there's no messages that I missed, um, things like that. And then I'm pretty much done for the night. Now, if you see that 8 o'clock or so is a prime time for you, extend the hours. Okay. Um, Normally I still monitor the accounts past 8 o'clock at night, but I'm just not responding within 5, 10 minutes. Okay. If it's a good lead and they come in and they're answering all the right questions right away and they're 700, 800 and they're talking right then take a few minutes and talk to them. Okay. But If they're a bad profile, like don't kill yourself spending up all night thinking that you have to answer every single message as soon as it comes in. It's okay. People are people. Um, they're not going to respond immediately all the time. If they are, then respond back with them. If they're not, then it's okay, you know. But that's pretty much it for the scheduling as far as how I schedule the day out and what we do for the day. And that's just for the setting portion. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.